Hello, my name is Alex. I'm a big fan of bullwhips. Ever since I was around 8, I remember watching Indiana Jones around 2008 and being enthralled. I found a whip in my basement around this time, and since then I've owned 3, including the one I have now, which I bought in an Australian shop in Leavenworth, Washington. There's a severe shortage of videos or documentaries on bullwhips on the internet, which is why I'm making this puppy. I want to show people just how great bullwhips really are. So now we're going to be going down my original bullwhip. Alright? Now this puppy, I wore it down to the nub. And this is the one that I used when I was like 8 or 9 years old, when I first saw Indiana Jones. And I kept on whipping it, and eventually it got down to the point, like we just kept on like tying the leather off and off. And it was originally an 8-foot whip, and now I don't even know how many feet. Maybe a yard, 4 feet or something. I don't know. This was an 8-foot whip. This was the same length as the other whip I have that I've shown off. It's crazy, and it's just a friendly reminder that whips are fragile. My friend's mom picked up a shorter whip as a joke. It still works, somewhat. It's not made of leather. It's probably a more loosey-goosey material. I had a lot of fun with it, but more importantly, it shows how important the material is when finding the whip right for you. For example, kangaroo hide is widely considered to be one of the best materials for whips, but it's also very expensive. And I don't know if you want to kill kangaroos just to make a whip. I mean, you could use the meat, but hey, whatever. I'm not an expert on kangaroos. Alright, so it's about time that I talk about the anatomy of a bullwhip. This part here is the Turk's head. This is the handle, that's pretty clear. And this bit here, along the length of the whip, is the thong. Now there's a little bit of debate about this part of the whip. Some folks just call the entirety of the knotted whip the thong. Some people like to break it up into small bits. I don't like to do that. I think that's pointless. It's just a thong, all right? It's pretty simple. This part here is the fall. I had to replace my fall. Originally it was leather and it meshed well with the aesthetic of the main whip, but that fell off within the month just because of use. I wore this puppy out, and this part here is the cracker. It's been frayed horribly. This is about 4 months of use, and it just goes to show just how extreme you can get when whipping. Many cultures have made their own version of a whip, usually made out of animal skin, although stingray tails were used in Southeast Asia. The bullwhip, which is what I'm talking about here, is a product of the Old West and was used by cowboys to direct cattle using the loud noise produced. There's debate over whether or not they actually hit the cows, but regardless, it's not done today. I decided to change gears here a little and interviewed some folks on what they thought about bullwhips. So, what do you know about bullwhips?
Well, I know that they're long. I think they're made out of leather.
Well, they're. I don't know what to say.
Do you think whips are cool?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Just think about it for a second. The tip of the whip, when that crack sound, that's the tip of the whip breaking the sound barrier, and that's pretty cool. That's what jets do, and that's pretty cool.
You think whips are cool?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Bullwhips gained popularity again in the 1980s with songs such as Whip It by Devo. Whipmaker, David Morgan, provided all the whips for the Indiana Jones movies and really deserves a lot of respect for reigniting America's interest in bullwhips.
Other countries, primarily Australia, have bullwhip competitions. It's a sport! But it never caught on here in the States, and I wish it did, but thankfully, I feel there's a sizable interest in bullwhips, and they're a lot of fun to crack. I hope more folks appreciate that.
This has been me, Alex G, presenting you a bullwhip documentary.